Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Delco Cross Country Podcast. With you as always, this is Kevin Key. And I want to apologize last week for the audio issues it looked like I was having with my microphone. Apparently there are some issues right now with my microphone. So apparently I was very soft-spoken until I had the interviews post-Delcos. Hopefully those are fixed. If not, oops. I apologize ahead of time. And I'm going to apologize again because this is going to be a very condensed podcast. It's going to be a very unprepared podcast today. Losing my voice. It is currently late on Sunday night, but I wanted to get something out to the masses of Delaware County for cross country this weekend, especially with everything that happened. I was able to break down a lot of things on my Instagram page, that's at DelcoXCPod, and my Twitter page over the past few days, that's DelcoXCPod. I got a few emails, DelcoXC@gmail.com. I apologize for not replying to those emails, especially from a couple of coaches that have reached out to me on that. I apologize. I was definitely have fallen behind on my emails the past couple of days. There's been a lot of things going on in my own personal life, so I apologize ahead of time. Prior to starting this podcast, make sure you give us a 5-star review. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, wherever you, and obviously you can get this wherever you can find podcasts. It definitely helps the algorithm, so help the algorithm by giving me a 5-star review and leaving a comment. Like I said, this is kind of expected to be a very short podcast, maybe shorter than Paul Short. Who knows? It might be as fast at least, but we will see. At this point in the season, I kind of really want to dive into the importance of health within a cross-country program. Because there's a lot of things going on, and you should have noticed it this weekend if you did not already in Delaware County. Health is very important. We've seen athletes who have come back from injury and run strong, kind of like a Joey Lancey, who continues to run strong throughout his senior effort, especially coming back off an injury. Joey Lancey went 16-13 this weekend at the Paul Short course, earning his team 38 points in that undertaking. He's someone who's definitely come back throughout this. I apologize, 36 points in that undertaking. Definitely has come back. Definitely ran strong this weekend. Should be proud of himself, as definitely takes patience. But health is definitely a key factor. The upside with Joey Lancey is he's coming back into the season. Well, right now it looks like there's a lot of people who are falling out, maybe because of sickness, maybe because of injury. I'm not too far dived into the personal lives of cross-country coaches, and I'm not going to be personally diving into it, but health is very important. I mean, look at it this way. If you noticed, Sophia Curtis and Sarah Emch, they were both out for Springfield this week at Zelenzianum. Carson Tierney from Notre Dame, she was out at Paul Short. Avery Lustgarten from Garnet Valley, she was out at Paul Short. Sean Lawson from Haverford, he was out at Paul Short. On top of different illnesses going around, having the conversation last week with the Haverford girls, they were saying they were all coming off of an illness of some sort, and that seems to be passed around. So it is the very important task of keeping healthy, both from illness and injury at this point of the season, is truly one of the most important things, because now we're getting into championship season. Now we're getting into, here comes Centrals, here comes Bell, here comes the Interact, here comes Philadelphia Catholic League, here comes all of these championships that lead into district championships, that lead into state championships. No matter who you are, it is very important to try to stay healthy, and this is the time to do it. This weather is changing, so coaches, I know you're going to be pushing that vitamin C. I know you're pushing that Pedialyte, especially at this time of year since the weather is changing. I mean, I went out for a walk this weekend about 6:30 in the morning. It was freezing. By the time 8 o'clock hit, it was like 75. The weather is absolutely crazy. You can actually hear it in my voice how crazy this weather is, and illness comes with that. So as we enter into championship season, be aware of that. And before I get into the podcast, usually I go into rankings. I do not have rankings this week. I apologize. Once again, it's going to be quicker than Paul Short. There is no rankings. I did promise a top 10 athletes. I'm not going to do that this week. I am going to break that down probably next week, or as we get closer to those league championship meets. We might have a bonus podcast this weekend, in all honesty, breaking down the team rankings in Delaware County on top of the individual rankings. So let me get into it. Like I said, I didn't really prepare as much on this one. I have some things prepared, but not a lot. And I'm going to be going based off of rankings, based off of performances at the different events, at the William Tennent Invitational, at the Slancianum Invitational, and at the Paul Short Invitational. Paul Short's where we start with. Paul Short was the big race this weekend. Paul Short was the reason why Delco's got pushed back a week. And Paul Short had a dominating Delco performance. Let's call it a Delco domination. 3 teams from Delaware County pulled off a team victory. That would be the Pencrest boys, the Haverford girls, and the girls of Radnor, all pulled off a tremendous weekend over at Paul Short. I'm starting with Kendra Williamson today. She had her first big challenge of the year. She went up against some of the state's best in Lillian DeCola, who was the gold race winner for the Paul Short Invitational. And Lillian DeCola, she is a stellar athlete, and there has to be Delco roots. Actually, I know there are Delco roots in Lily DeCola. Her dad went to Monsignor Bonner, was one of the top performance on a 94 team at Bonner. I'm pulling out 94. It might have been sooner than that. And a great family, great St. Andrew and Drexel Hill family. Lillian DeCola definitely has those Delco roots, has that Delco toughness, and she pulled off a victory. You also have someone like Virginia Kratz and Alexia Tubbs, Jane Kratz, and then you had a debuting Olivia Cieslak from Haverford, among many others that Kendra went up against. She's able to pull off fourth with a huge PR, dropping an 18:06. And right now, Kendra's looking to cement the Delco Runner of the Year award winner now that she went head-to-head with Cieslak. But as we enter championship season, anything can change here. But right now, it looks like Kendra is going to be that favorite, potentially for the Delco Runner of the Year. So look out for that. Speaking of Olivia Cieslak, Haverford, they were dominating in the Gold Girls race. They put up a victory behind a 6th place finishing Olivia Cieslak, behind an 18th place finish from Cameron McGeehan. But a trend that you're going to see at Paul Short was the importance of numbers 3, 4, and 5. And it was Haverford's 3 and 4, Ryan Dankinis and Micah Haskins, proving how tough they were as their 3rd and 4th runner. They went 30th and 32nd, and it came down to Evelyn Awad to close this one out, as she did just that. She was the 3rd fastest number 5 runner on the course. Very important to be that on a tough course or in a tough race with a bunch of teams. Evelyn did exactly that. Haverford was able to come out on top overall in the gold race. Even if you merge the results, Haverford would have been dominant. They topped O&J Roberts by a ton in a merged race. If you merged it, it would have been 45 points that Haverford would have won by. And they got a Conestoga team coming into Central League Championships that are going to have a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to be coming after Haverford as they were 3rd at the Paul Short Invitational. So I'm excited to see that one. In the girls' brown race, it was the team from Radnor. They pulled out a victory. Radnor was 3rd overall at Delco Championships, but they were able to play spoiler. Some of that may have been because of an illness or an injury to Carson Tierney from Notre Dame. Like I said, health is going to be important. Radnor was able to pull out a win in the girls' brown race. They were led by Emma Hyde. She was 10th overall, but once again, it's Radnor's 3 through 5 that showed the importance. While their 3rd wasn't the fastest 3rd runner, their 4 and 5 was by far the fastest 4 and 5 runner on the course in the brown race. 3, 4, and 5 were Coco Connor, Sonia Doherty, and I'm butchering this name. It's Lakshmi Rajmani. Hopefully I actually did pretty well on that one. They really closed it out with 12 places between them. It was Mia Richter who was their 2nd runner for Radnor. Notre Dame's Mary Rosano was 11th, with Kara Sweeney going 14th. Once again, missing Carson Tierney, very important for them as they have a strong top 3 there. And Carson was their top runner a week ago. Cece Kane kept up her stellar freshman season by going 22nd overall. In the girls' white race, it was Strathaven who went 5th overall. They were led by Sophie Jackson, who was 12th, and Mara Carey, who was 22nd. They also had a strong 3rd out of Anaya Aga, who went 32nd overall. Haven continues to put up strong performances while the team is earning 5th. Upper Darby was 11th overall. They were led by Katie Golan-Busky. But it's the boys race I want to talk about. It's the boys race that I really want to dive into. There is no notes on the boys race. I've got nothing from this point on. Everything else was scripted. There's nothing else from this point on. And there's not really a good reason for that. But when it comes to this boys race, it was incredible. I sat at my desk in school as a teacher, and I was watching results. Don't worry, I was on my prep. I have a 30-minute prep every single day. I was on my prep watching this race happen, watching this race develop. Mile 1, breaking it down. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this race. Look how tremendous. And through mile 1, I'm like, Pencrest in second, with Manheim Township in first. Episcopal's in fourth. This is going to be incredible. Mile 2 comes by. Fast second mile. It's Pencrest in first. It's Episcopal Academy in second. Once again, completely turning things over. And then we get to the finish line. Then we get to Rowan Carr going 5th overall. We get to Edemias Mulligetta going 8th overall. You have Eli Engelman and Curtis Connor 11th and 14th. But it wasn't them. It wasn't their number 1. It wasn't their number 2. And really, it wasn't even their number 3, as the 24th overall scoring-wise, John Ricketts for Episcopal Academy with a 15.52. He was followed by Nick Fonte, who was 33rd for Pencrest overall. It wasn't even down to the third runner. It was down to number 4. Ethan Zal. I blessed this name all weekend. I blessed it on the Twitter account. Ethan Zal had a heck of a performance. By far the fastest number 4 guy. He was 53rd overall. The next fastest number 4 came from Red Lion Area High School, the 7th overall team at 65th. Ethan Zal went 53rd overall. Well ahead, and that's in the scoring rankings. He was 22 places ahead of Pencrest number 4 in this one. Pencrest number 4, of course, was Sean Holst Rightly, who finished 78th. But it definitely came down to the importance of that number 5 and where Andrew H was going to finish. He finished 89th. Very close race in this one, as Episcopal was able to put their 4 in reality ahead of Pencrest 4. Other than their 1 and 2 with Eddie and Rowan up front for Pencrest. And it was also for Episcopal, Eli Engelman and Curtis Connor as their top 2 at 11-14. You don't win races within your top guy. Your top guy, their job is to get you as low points as possible. Win the race, finish in the top 5 if you can, but get those points. It comes down to the importance of number 4, number 5, and even number 6 and number 7. Ethan Zal showed that this week. He went 56th overall, scored 53 points with a 16.31. It really came down to that 4th runner and that 5th runner. Andrew Hayes was able to close it out. He finished 93rd overall. 89 points for Pencrest at a 16.56. His race was very important because he was 5 places away. If Episcopal was able to go, if Will Patterson was able to close out and go finish like 107, that race would have been tied and would have went down to the 6th runner in this case. And if it went down to the 6th runner, it still would have been Pencrest pulling this out. But man, what a tremendous race out of Pencrest and Episcopal Academy. And not only that, but you have Delco Domination. You have Jackson Kane from Ridley. He went 7th overall in this one. That shows you how tough Delaware County is on any course. Again, Jackson Kane putting up another impressive race for Ridley. I've already mentioned the name Joey Lancey. Props to him for coming back. He finished 38th overall. Scoring 36 points for his team. Huge props for him. Haverford was able to put Teddy Foster into the top 20. Teddy Foster went 17th overall, scored 17 points, went 15.40. Logan Eagles was behind him. Carlo Bianvieri, Eagles at 62nd, Bianvieri at 64th. Once again, it comes down to health for that Haverford squad. They were missing their number 4 in this one, and once again, illness matters. You have to make sure they're getting healthy going into this postseason. Without Sean Lawson, it was very tough for them to keep going, and especially moving up and trying to place within those top teams overall. Here's what got me in this. What got me is if you merged the three races together, if you've merged the gold, the brown, and the white race together, it would have been just as close for Episcopal and Pencrest up at the top. Just as close. This is what would have happened. What would have happened is Episcopal would have pulled out a win, going 11, 14, 26, 63rd, 163rd. They would have been able to pull off a 1-point victory over Pencrest, who went 5, 8, 35, 102, 128 in the merged races. This was not merged, however. Pencrest was able to pull off a victory. But once again, it shows you how how tight the top of Delaware County is on the boys' end between Pencrest and Episcopal. Two teams that continue to kind of push off each other and fight each other off every step of the way. They definitely look to match up against each other at races, and it shows tremendously. In the boys' brown race, you had the team from Radnor. They scored 249 points. They finished 5th overall. They were led by second overall finisher 1551 and Joseph Garzio. Once again, Garzio's closing out. His mid-September to now has been absolutely tremendous. Garzio is definitely someone who you're watching out for once you get into District 1 championships. Once you get into Central League championships, you need to watch out for Joseph Garzio at this point. He went second overall. His teammate Connor Walsh, he was 38th, with Jack Whibble as 48th and Aiden Landau at 80th. So once again, Radnor team was 5th overall in that boys race. And I'm just checking real quick on the boys' white race. Looked like we had the team from Upper Darby. It was Joshua Sharp who finished 17th overall. The team from Upper Darby ended up as the 18th overall team. Josh Sharp went 17-13 on a pretty quick Paul Short course. Looks like he brought home a t-shirt for them. So congratulations to Josh Sharp. Strathaven was 9th overall in this one. Owen Goldberg, he scored 43rd, 3 points. That's not a name I've seen at the top of the list. I wonder where their health is as well. Carson Keller was their 2nd overall runner. He went 55th overall for the team from Strathaven to go 9th in the boys' white race. I'm going to start to move on real quick. One of the races I kept my eye on pretty close was the William Tennent Invitational. Just watching, just looking, and I was really seeing if that team from Agnes Irwin was going to show out, because last week I know they had a tough time at Delco Championships. I know it wasn't exactly what they wanted, so I watched that race, being that it was only Agnes Irwin is the only Delco team in this one. Agnes Irwin put up a very strong performance at William Tennent. They scored 101 points. They finished 3rd overall to Central Bucks East and Central Bucks West. Now here's the kicker. Central Bucks West, about 2 weeks ago, was PA ranked number 13. Central Bucks East was not ranked. Central Bucks West was ranked at 13th. That means Agnes Irwin was 1 point off of the team from Central Bucks West, a state-ranked team. Agnes Irwin was led by Sophia Casey, who was 3rd overall. Avery Brennan 7th. Emma Watson was 8th. Their trio is absolutely stellar up front. They continue to work off each other. I think last week was just a rough week for them. Maybe health got involved and health came to play for that team from Agnes Irwin. But their top 3 are as good as anyone else in this league. It's the number 4 who came in at 19th, scoring 19 points, finished at 21. That was Margaret Dooley. It comes down to their number 5. Where their number 5 is, that's where it's going to close out. And their number 5 scored 68 total points this week, and that would be the Win Hastings, who finished 70th overall. It will come down to Win Hastings come Interact time, and that's going to be very important to that team from Agnes Irwin. At the Slindsey Annam Invitational, you only watched a few races here. Didn't really dive in too much, seeing that Springfield lost 2 of their top athletes in Sarah Emch and Sophie Curtis. It was Darsana Bata who finished 8th overall for them. She's a junior. Michaela Corcoran, she was 10th overall. Anastasia Milana was 14th overall. Springfield ended up being the 3rd overall team. I think if they had Sarah Emch, then think that if they had Sophie Curtis, they would have pulled off a victory over Mount DeSales, over Tower Hill School. I just think those two are two of the top runners in Delaware County right now. I think Springfield, if they had those two girls, they definitely would have been up there more within this race. Going into the boys championship race, 1 second. It was the guys from Penwood. It was Joshua Esters who went 10th overall. Esters continues his strong junior season. Guy who I've been watching throughout the year. John Esters, he was 28th overall, going 1903 for Penwood. Penwood continues to impress. No matter who you are, you have to be impressed by Penwood's season this year. They didn't have the strongest Lansdowne Invitational. They had a 20-minute and 3-second average. They had a 4:42 split between 1 and 2. But you have to still be impressed by the team from Penwood. Haverford School for boys, they were 7th overall. That team was led in this one by Alex Dardarian, who finished 16th overall. Liam French, he was 33rd. That last name sounds awfully familiar. He is a senior. Nate Gill was 37th. Grant Kim was 38th. And Lucas Crotchlow was 44th, with Finn Kelly finishing 45th. They pack around that race, basically, for a 7th place overall. Like I said, this was going to be a quick hitter. I wasn't going to go deep diving into it. And I still went over 20 minutes of a podcast, which is absolutely unbelievable. So look out. Maybe I'll have a bonus episode this week of your top teams in Delco, your top runners in Delco, maybe like an all Delco watch. But you're looking right now at league championship meets. And I'm going to break down some league championship meets, which are about a week away, starting with Central League Championships, going into the weekend of Catholic League Championships. You also have the Bale League. You have Interacts, all coming up very quickly. I know this weekend you have the Manhattan Invitational, which is a lot of fun for some teams. I don't expect a lot of Delco teams to be part of that, simply because of their league championships coming up. I just want to confirm these meets coming up real quick, because I know the first one is usually Central Leagues. You have Interact on October 15th as well, which is a huge race for those three girls teams, specifically Episcopal Academy, Agnes Irwin, Notre Dame. Three really strong teams, with Central League Championships also coming up next week. Delco Championships and BAL Championships all coming up during the week. So be on the lookout. I will try to break down each and every meet, maybe give you a preview of each and every meet, as well as breaking down the final results, and hopefully crowning some Delco champions at League Invitational meets. As always, this is Kevin Key. I'm going to sign off this week. Stay healthy, keep moving, get ready for those league meets, and make sure you get up those hills and you move. Thank you again for listening. Make sure you give me a 5-star review. Leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. It's good for the algorithm. Always listen to the algorithm. Thank you again, always, for your support. Officially signing off. This is Kevin Key.